So we finally get to see the two mysterious characters who showed up at the end of the new One Piece chapter 1134, and it is confirming that this is, in fact, the same character from chapter 907 at the Reverie. Now, at that time, many years ago, we thought, oh, that's Shanks, because what else were we supposed to think? We didn't have any other context or any other reasons to think it wasn't Shanks until now, because it's seemingly Shanks' secret brother. And I say secret to us, but I'm sure once these chapters go on, a whole bunch of characters are just going to know who this guy was the whole time, just like they did with Nika. But I digress. Now let me back up a little bit and just explain how we got to this point. So, this all happens in the very final 2 pages of this chapter. It kind of just comes out of nowhere, where we cut to the western village of Elbaf. I think this is the first big grand place that we actually got to see of Elbaf a couple chapters back. And what I want you to look at is the big castle in the upper left corner, because that castle suddenly gets struck with black lightning, very reminiscent to that of Conqueror Hockey lightning. And when we cut inside, we see that these 2 cloaked figures kneeling down have suddenly appeared within, and they were brought there by a summoning circle that is nearly the exact same that we saw the Gorosei use to arrive at Egghead. The difference is that this doesn't have numbers in it the way that we saw with Saturn. It's kind of just like a pentagram. And then we get to see a close-up of their faces. And like I said, it is essentially the same exact perspective that we got of the quote-unquote Shanks person from chapter 907, but aside from that, there is also a woman with him. We just see her eye, a little bit of her hair coming down, and the rest of her face is like covered with like a bandage or a mask or something. Now we'll get into who that woman could be, because it's a lot more difficult to figure out who that is, considering that we know that this is probably Shanks' brother. Another little cool thing about that, and I pointed this out before, I'm sure tons of other YouTubers have, that whole time in chapter 907 we never got to see the left side of this character's face, because if we did, we wouldn't have seen a scar. You know, the scar that Shanks received from Blackbeard, because this guy probably doesn't have it because probably didn't fight Blackbeard, because he was just chilling Marischwa being a Holy Knight. Now, speaking of the Holy Knights, considering that Garling, Figureland Garling, who is the father of this character and also the father of Shanks, not confirmed yet, but it seems very likely, since he has now become a Gorosei, he is no longer the leader of the Holy Knights as he once was, or I'm assuming that he's giving up that position, and it likely means that this guy, let's just call him Danks in the interim, because I think that's like the fun community name that he's been given. Hey guys, if you're looking for a last minute holiday gift, look no further than Extra Wallet. So if you've been following my channel for some time now, you'll know that I love the Extra Wallet. I've been using it for almost 4 years now. In fact, Extra is one of the first sponsors that we've had on the channel. And the main reason I love Extra Wallet is because it's super slim and it has quick card access. That's right, it has a trigger mechanism that pops up your card. Like I said, I've been using this for almost 4 years now, and it still never gets old. Extra also has its new Card Holder Pro. It lets you hold 2 extra cards and their new Finder card. And speaking of the Finder card, it's an ultra slim rechargeable tracking device that pairs with Apple Find My, allowing you to track your wallet and other belongings with ease. You can also ring your Finder card from up to 300 feet away. Extra also has this incredibly aesthetic money clip to hold all of your loose cash. So guys, this is the perfect time to get your last minute holiday gift, because Extra Wallet is having their Christmas sale where you'll get up to 50% off. But using my code ZONIN1, you'll get up to 55% off. Of course, I will have the link in the description. Thanks, guys. Danks will likely be promoted to being the leader of the Holy Knights at this moment. I don't know for sure, just taking a guess. Now, this guy being Shanks' brother could also explain why Shanks was found in a treasure chest at God Valley by Roger. It's very likely that this guy is like the pure-blooded son of Garlic, as to where Shanks might have possibly been a bastard. Like Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. A theory going around that I'm totally on board with is that maybe Garling had some kind of concubine or something that was maybe a slave. And, you know, she gave birth to Shanks, possibly. And that also goes into my theory that I talked about a few weeks ago about Shanks possibly being half D, half Celestial Dragon, meaning that maybe his mother was a D member, and also, you know, a slave of the Celestial Dragons. So, that being said, I guess Garling was just like, yeah, let me just give up this half-breed. He could just be a prize, because, you know, he's still a beast. He's still like my son. I mean, obviously Shanks is ostensibly the strongest character in the series right now. I mean, it's just based off of feats and stuff. So, Garling is obviously an ultra powerhouse, and I'm assuming that Danks is as well. I mean, come on, he has to be. But anyway, this is Danks, the brother of Shanks, finally making his full true appearance other than 907, which is insane, and the silhouette that we saw of him at the end of 1121. Now, other than that, I don't know too much about this guy Danks. And I know even less about his little partner that came with him, this woman who I'm assuming is also a holy knight. Now, before I go into her identity, I just want to point out them bowing here as they enter, or kneeling, I think is because they were probably kneeling before Emu before they were sent there, or kneeling before a Gorosei, or whoever has control over this teleportation ability. I mean, it could be them. Maybe this is like a learned ability. Maybe Emu taught it to the Holy Knights and the Gorosei. But either way, I think this all starts and ends with Emu. This demonic teleportation stuff, along with how the Gorosei can regenerate and speak telepathically with each other. I don't know if the Holy Knights can regenerate, because we don't know anything about them. We don't even know if they have fruits or anything. We don't even know the freaking names. Now, as for who this woman is, like I said, no idea. Some theories are it's Ginny, you know, the mother of Bonnie. Now, that doesn't make sense, I know, because she died from Sapphire Scale from Saturn, but maybe it's like a clone of her. I don't know why they would even clone her, but I don't know, that's a possibility. It could be Robin's mom. Probably not. I don't know. I would probably put my money on it just being a new character rather than just an old character coming back. But given that her face is covered up here, it makes us think that, oh, maybe this is a character that we already know coming back from the past that maybe we thought was dead, or, you know, something like that. So just, you know, keep that in mind for that kind of reveal, because this is One Piece and that stuff happens all the time. So another little interesting thing that I found about Danks here, or possibly relating to Danks, goes all the way back to 1995. Holy crap, I know, that's ancient times, before many of you watching this video were even born. Well, Oda was crafting up some character drafts of One Piece characters, although at this time I'm sure these were Romance Dawn characters, because that's what it was before One Piece. But here we see a draft of the original Luffy, who looks cooler than post-time skip Luffy, in my opinion. But off to the right, we see Shanks, 3 years after the war, whatever that means. Maybe the original concept of Marineford. But it says, Knight Leader Shanks. So, does that mean that this whole time Oda had it in his mind that maybe Shanks was going to be some kind of leader of the Knights, or I don't know if this was an antagonistic force at that time in his mind, but fascinating that all this time, maybe he's trying to bring this back to what it originally was, where the leader of the Holy Knights, like we were talking about, is Danks now, instead of Shanks. And now for the final part of this video, let me go into some deep cut lore crafting, allegedly based off of the mythology that Oda may or may not be using, because Sai and I made a collab a couple weeks ago going over the possibility of Garling's devil fruit being like a werewolf, or possibly even Fenrir from Norse mythology, and how that ties into Danks and Shanks being his sons.
With the Fenrir connection, right, a lot of people look at Shanks and they say that Shanks he's like Tyr, right? The red hair, missing an arm, like he has all of that going for him. But another thing with here is that he is also tied specifically to Fenrir. So that is why I like this theory a lot. And that's why, yes, Darling being Fenrir, it's perfect.
Alright, so we have Fenrir in Norse mythology, who is like a big supernatural wolf, essentially. But is Fenrir also like a werewolf too? Or is it just like a wolf?
Fenrir is more of just a wolf.
So it's equivalent to the moon, I suppose, you know, because I guess that's where the whole werewolf transformation came from. And Garling, we already established, is the freaking moon. And apparently Fenrir had two sons, Hati and Skoll. And what's really interesting about that is that Skoll chases the sun, and Hati, or Hades, however you say that, chases the moon. And that's really interesting to me because of the whole theory that, first of all, Shanks is the son of Garling, but also Shanks has a twin who is like at the top of the Holy Knights at this point. And if that all connects, that's fascinating because we saw, you know, Shanks went with Roger, the sun, and then of course the opposite end, the Emu and the Holy Knights and the Celestial Dragons are the moon, which would be Shanks' brother.
Oh yeah, that would fit perfectly. And the thing with Shanks as well, right? Having Shanks be the son of Fenrir in a way, having him be tied to wolves, is that connection he has with Mihawk, who's like, you know, vampiric. So it's like, you know, it's also a play on like werewolves and vampires, werewolves and vampires.
Wow.
Which is why I've always been a big fan of like this theory specifically.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer.
This is becoming more popular. This makes my heart warm a little bit, you know. It's like Christmas Eve. Yeah, I came home. There's like milk and cookies there.
Oh man, this is like eggnog for me.
Yeah, eggnog, milk and cookies. Just first cake.
So another thing that makes me think this is plausible is because it is Norse mythology. It's not like just a random thing. Because, you know, Oda's going into Elbaf now. And we've already seen he's adapting Norse mythology into it. Yggdrasil, Loki, all that stuff. So why not have this as an aspect of it? And for some reason, Shanks is like boys with everyone on Elbaf. They love him.
Yup. Dude, ever since day one, Shanks has been tied to Elbaf. The minute we saw his ship, right? People saw his ship all the way back to the beginning of One Piece. They're like, yo, that's a Norse ship. What's going on here? And then you learn about the giants and how they're Vikings, and it's like, oh, dude, it's done. Like, this is a theory that's, well, not Darling specifically, but Shanks being tied to Norse mythology. That's been a theory since, like, chapter, like, 2. Oh, and then we get to chapter 100, and we meet the giants, and it's like, holy crap, yeah, it's happening. And then we see Shanks' home base is Elbaf, or, you know, Shanks hangs out here, and it's like, yeah, it's set in stone. It's all there.
So yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? Things are really exciting now. I cannot wait to see what happens with Danks. Curious to see if he's like just a straight hockey man, the way that Shanks is, or if he has a devil fruit. So much to go over. Please let me know in the comments, guys, all of your theories and speculations about what's going on with Danks, what's going on with this masked woman who is probably a holy knight. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.